Yeah, they did, and a big part of that was Lorlo on the Trundle. Huge split pushing threat. He's actually played a lot of Trundle. So Trundle, Shen, and Aurelia are probably his 3 most played champions. And Envy should probably think about that next time because we talked about Seraph. He's got this diverse champion pool, and they should be expecting these things from Team Liquid. Now, Envy's draft, it was pretty good that time around. We talked about what Rumble does bring to the team fight. You know, when they had Sivir, they had all his speed, but they just got caught so many times with a long-range engage. Team Liquid very good at picking people off. Such a close game, though. I mean, the goal difference was actually around 100 the entire time until 28 minutes.
Which is insane.
There were small spikes, you know, when someone took a tower or when someone got an actual kill, but for the majority of the game, it was almost within 100 gold for 28 minutes long until Team Liquid took control.
Well, they did manage to get it in the end, but Envy, of course, have a chance to answer here for game number 2. Team Liquid could take another series and sweep the weekend. Not in games, but certainly in matches, as we'll see what we have in store for this first draft. 6 AP champion, effectively 6 mage fans. In game 1, there's Azir, there's Vlad. This is what we've come to expect, but do Envy maybe look for another one, or do they pivot a bit? They actually take Olaf off the board, away from Dardoch.
Yeah, even though Dardoch showed preference for Gragas, and has actually picked Gragas when everything else was up before. Definitely a situational pick. You know, it does depend on comp. But no Olaf this time around, so their strategy where they had the speed-boosted Olaf Zerg comp, not going to be on the table for them. Rest of the mages are coming through, though, as Swain also finds himself on the banned list.
Some red side problems for Team Liquid, I think. It's like, kind of have to ban them. Envy, we did see Ninja look pretty good on the Victor, but Phoenix sort of has the counter there. There's Trundle. Understandably banned away from Lola this time around.
All right, so we'll see. Will he go with the Shen or the Aurelia? Or try and mix it up with something new? I would say, I would definitely put my money on one of the two, Shen or Aurelia, rather than trying to switch it up. And we'll see if they actually close it out with a Ryze ban, because Ryze is still up. Unless they actually wanted to really pinch junglers here and match the Olaf with a Rek'Sai ban. Okay, there's the Ryze.
Yep, so taken away by TL. All the standards, for the most part, taken out of the game this time around. See what Envy have in store for first pick. Rek'Sai an option there for Proxen. Maybe if they want to take an 80 carry away from Fabi, Log could maybe pick up Jhin here. Lots of options for Envy, but no real rush to take anything that's super obvious, and I'll just take Rek'Sai instead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to ban a jungler, you should first round Rek'Sai. You ban one that's not Rek'Sai, then first round. We'll see what Dardoch's answer is. You know, Graves is an option that people have been using into the Rek'Sai. Gragas as well. Those are probably 2 of the most common. Kindred has made a slight showing, but I don't expect him to actually lock that in unless they want to play something around the Kindred ult 4 backline with something.
Options perhaps for Team Liquid. Dardoch, he has played Kindred, but I know he's outspoken about not being really like, doesn't really feel the Kindred that much.
It's definitely fallen off. The nerfs,
yeah,
talk about the nerfs to Kindred and Nidalee to take those 2 down from being top junglers pretty much uncontested. And that's what really opened up the space for Rek'Sai to move in.
Well, Fabi may just be a Jhin main. He was playing Ashe for a few weeks. Let's see what Team Liquid have in store. It's not Kennen. Is it Kha'Zix? It's not Kha'Zix. Roman Jhin once again. They tricked me!
You get me hyped up. I want to see Kha'Zix. I haven't seen him in so long.
Not
he's
the
actually,
LCS, unfortunately.
He's actually extremely good, once again, for regular rank games. Not so much for competitive. It's a lot harder, you know, to justify buying a lot of full damage on a jungle assassin in competitive play because sight zone is so important. Early control is so important. We've seen a couple people attempt it and try and force Kha'Zix into competitive play with Black Cleaver first builds and things like that, and go kind of bruisery, but not to a whole lot of success. And we will still have to speculate what Dardoch will lock in, but once again, that's my favorite combo, the Jhin Braum. So much kill pressure. If one of the spells land, you can really easily chase people down. And as we saw even before, level 1 kills are a very real prospect.
Yeah, I don't think Envy will be doing quite as much aggressive level 1 pathing, but Ninja hovering the Victor could take it away from Phoenix. Phoenix, again, probably comfortable with the matchup, and they'll actually take Morgana.
Black Shield coming in so that they can protect against picks. Very interesting. See how well Hakuo can keep his teammates safe. it also, opens up other options for, aggressive poke champions. You put the Black Shield on them beforehand so they don't get locked down when they go in to try and harass. Victor, though, always that stable wave clear. Basically the most picked blind mage, I'd have to say, for the mid lane because he is so well-rounded.
And with the Zero Band away, it makes sense. Although we'll see what Phoenix has to offer on the other side. Did take LeBlanc into the matchup last time. Fared just fine with Dardoch's jungle pressure. But maybe if Dardoch's thinking of switching up his jungler from Gragas, Phoenix might take something different.
The Graves. We'll see if he actually locks it in, though. Cassiopeia would mean this Liquid comp would have a lot of damage, and they definitely need Lorlo on a tank. So that would signify to me that they want to pick Shen for Lorlo. That would be my guess to round out this Team Liquid comp. Try and add that extra global in there because they've got plenty of damage for the late game. Cassiopeia, because of the passive, not being able to buy boots, you get an extra slot basically. So if games are going to cap out, if Envy wants to play a long game, I like Cassiopeia in that because you can kind of get an extra item or keep a ward slot.
Well, 30 seconds now for Envy to decide how to finish this draft. Lod probably needs an AD carry, so he'll take one here. And I imagine Shen is like the logical pick for me here for Seraph, because if he expects Aurelia in particular.
Yeah, I would steal it away.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely what Team Liquid were thinking about for their last round, I would think. And they are thinking the same thing, Pastry.
Yep. I was like, what is that? Nope, that's not that. It is actually Ashen Shen.
What it is a ton of global pressure here from Team Envy. They're like, you know what? You're getting picks on us. Not only are we going to have Black Shield to deny your picks, but we are going to get Ash Arrow and Shen to come in on the back of Rek'Sai. So a lot of globals here for Team Envy. And we will see what Summoner's Ninja takes on the Victor in mid lane. Probably Cleanse if you're going versus Cassiopeia. Right now he's on the exhaust, but you do not want to get that close to use the exhaust. All the damage we talked about coming from Team Liquid right now is definitely ranged.
Well, TL, what does Lolo take? Because he had to expect the Shen takeaway.
Stole my
here.
Shen! Arr.
No Trundle to play either. I mean, Aurelia, we've seen players do it, but it feels like Shen.
Yeah, Aurelia doesn't look like it fits into this comp, though, that they've built. So, although if you look purely at stats, you're like, oh, yeah, Lorlo is going to go back to the Aurelia. I would think that they need something with a bit more security. Not going to be security, though. It'll be a split push.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah. Always trust the stats. Aurelia it is. It's going to go back to it. It's old mainstay. And he's going to try and get to the point where you get your early Trinity Force and really try and bully Shen. People were talking before about, oh, yeah, Shen picked into Aurelia a lot. Is it a counter pick? I don't think it is counter pick. I mean, you can block a few auto attacks with the Spirit's Refuge, but that does not make a counter pick to me. And Aurelia still can snowball out of control and really take over split push threat. Most of the games where Shen is picked into Aurelia, it's the Shen actually has been losing. It's definitely not a lane counter.
No, but I think Seraph will get to a point where obviously his global pressure is better and he might be able to tank through enough of the Aurelia pain. It'll be interesting to see kind of what these two top laners do, because it's pretty pivotal, and Lolo was very effective game one. I think Seraph could have a huge effect on this game in the second.
And it really is all about that global pressure for Team Envy. They've got it all over the board here. Junglers even got global from Rek'Sai. Ash Arrow picks with Shen coming in is how they want to get their advantages.
Well, team comps are lined up. Don't forget, of course, to keep those votes coming in using the hashtag NBWin or the hashtag TLWin. Team Liquid looking to sweep their weekend after beating Cloud9 yesterday in an upset. Could kind of get another one here and take out Envy.
Yeah, this upset would bring them to even. Right now, Envy are a game up on Team Liquid. If Team Liquid get this, you hand Team Envy the loss, so they now have the 4 losses. Plus, you get that win, and you're tied with Team Envy.
I'm trying to think, what position would they be tied for? Is it 4th? I'm not too sure.
I don't know.
The meme may live.
Last night was a very long night.
That's true.
I remember the standings at the moment.
We'll check it in later, though. We're on to the Ripper game number 2.
Let's go.
Envy versus Team Liquid. Let's go indeed. See if Envy can fire back here in the second game. Team Liquid, though, coming out swinging pretty much every single early game recently. See if Envy maybe answer with their own aggression, or if Team Liquid simmer down just a bit.
Interesting. So Ninja did keep the exhaust here for Victor. So maybe he just takes the all-in with Cassiopeia. Actually, when she tries to charge him, if you keep your back to her, as long as you don't get stunned, then you can win a fight with the exhaust. Exhaust also, it's always nice to have multiple exhausts when you're facing something like a Aurelia or a Fiora on the enemy team. If she ever does end up joining in on the team fights, the more of those, the better, because it can completely neutralize her. Well, semi-neutralize her.
Well, Phoenix could maybe take over this game. You can see the Keystone Mastery is there. Double Death Fire Touch on the right champions, and just looking through, it doesn't seem like we have any surprises, unfortunately. But that's okay.
Exhaust also could keep people in range of Victor. Take a look here if they do. It doesn't look like there will be an answer, so swapped up. Both duos will start on Krug, so it looks like they'll both be able to get them effortlessly. Only real difference is that Lorlo's not helping Dardoch in the leash, trying to get these minions early, whereas Seraph did help Proxen along to a bit earlier of a jungle path. We'll see if those few seconds actually end up mattering.
Well, on pace for maybe 4 minions here. There's another. He's going to get a whole wave.
Well, he might die for it.
The greed!
There is a binding coming his way. He's got flash.
There's volley though. Slow lands in. Good blade surge away, but there's the exhaust down.
Yeah.
Great flash though. Seraph though in trouble. Gets exhausted down. Fabi's there. Flash from Matt! First blood.
We
Goes to
were
Brom.
watching Lorlo thinking he was going to get picked off, but it's actually Seraph who gets too greedy. Great flash in there from Matt. I believe the Ignite was just barely not going to be enough damage, and he got in there for the extra auto with Braum to pick up the first blood. Huge, huge pickup right there. As all the top laners in the lane swaps are trying to be greedy. They want to get as many minions as possible. Lolo makes the smart play because you have to flash the binding. That's the only thing that's going to kill you when you're facing the level 1 combo. And he saves it. Really good job blade surging first to gain distance and then saving flash for the Dark Binding.
Well, here's this though. Again, snare for Fabi ready. And there's the flash order.
Boom. Yeah, and again, that's what we keep talking about. That's why it's my favorite duo at the moment. There's so much kill pressure. And you saw the abilities change right there. Braum Qs plus Jhin Ws. Able to earn themselves a first blood. I think this is maybe 3rd or 4th game in a row that Liquid have drafted that combo. Fabi and Matt.
And got first blood.
Definitely loving it. And the majority of the games they have gotten that first blood.
I think this is at least 3 in a row.
Fabi actually, I looked up the stats before this series. He had a 50% first blood rate as an 80 carry. That usually you're like, oh, that's the jungler.
Yeah.
Right? That's a jungler-esque first blood rate. But Fabi and Matt have been killing it with that combo.
Unfortunately for their opponents, pretty literally, Zenvi still pushing down this bottom outer. They'll be a little bit behind on the lane swap.
Yeah, I mean, you lose a lot of tempo if your top laner dies like that trying to be greedy. Yes, you want to get as many minions as you possibly can before you have to leave, and so you don't end up 1 versus 1 at a disadvantage, but now the entire team is going to be facing a disadvantage because early Sightstone there for Matt. The only thing for Team Liquid is that Fabi didn't quite go. Whoa, is there?
Safe.
Okay.
It's safe enough.
Playing with fire there. Doesn't get snared up by the Braum passive. Does get snared up by Jhin W.
Gets that deadly fire shot. That's Fabi just going to clear this wave out. And they have to actually recall. Matt might find another recall cancel here. Just gets Hakuho straight in the face. Dodges out the binding. Snare not going to land, but they're going to keep following in for it. Seraph's going to bail. Matt's now going to take some harass.
Well, now they're in the 2 versus 2 and teleport plus jungler bottom. They're going to collapse.
Seraph going to make it again. Did save the TP. Matt locked up. Is going to look to go down. Flash from Fabi does get him out from under the Dark Binding. A good answer there from Seraph.
Yeah, they collapse here for Envy. Able to punish them for the overextension. You getting a little bit greedy stopping those backs without any vision, but you would not assume they're down here. Meanwhile, Lorlo's trying to shove. He's trying to make up for it, get that minion wave all the way to the turret. Seraph is en route right now, rushing to the turret to try and clean up. I think he's only going to miss maybe 1 melee because the tower does select the cannon minion right after the melees. And yep, he only misses 1 melee. So Seraph will be happy to clean these up. It's very easy for Shen to CS under turret. He does miss 1 there, but I don't expect any more losses. Q does a lot of extra damage to minions and monsters, so pretty easy. Almost all the rest of them.
Yep. Gonna navigate this quite well, and Seraph picks up some much-needed CS. He was 32-4 or so at one point, so clears that about halfway and should start catching up as the wave's gonna crash towards him.
Got them all. Just keep spamming that Q. Execute those minions. Now, though, Lorlo does have a bit of free time roaming around. No teleport to his name, but finds a ward in mid.
Can't see it, unfortunately, but I guess is trying to get cute around mid lane. Proxen, though, Pink Ward's going to get cleared out. Dardoch still farming away on now the, I guess, standard side of the jungle.
Yeah, nice scenic route here for Lorlo back to top lane. Stops off mid. Makes his way through the jungle and lays down some vision for himself.
Looks like everyone top lane is caught up. Lola going to get aggressive, but Seraph pops down the refuge. Minion wave a little too big. Lola can't really fight. Eats a grasp for the Undying proc. Seraph doing very nicely there in that little 1v1 trade.
Yep. Meanwhile, Rek'Sai spotted by the wards that Lorlo placed on his little sojourn through the jungle. So they've been alerted to Proxen's presence, and that should set up Dardoch to go for an invade. He just got walled off there by Hakuo, though, so attempts at the invade foiled.
Good taunt again. Seraph back in for the damage. Grass procs. Lolo still eating damage.
Yeah, the reason he's really winning these trades is mostly because of the giant stack of range minions. They add so much extra damage at these early levels. Lorlo, though, happy to actually keep a bit of a low level of life. He has to be careful, though.
Time to dive. Taunt lands in. He flashes for it. Spirit's Refuge down, but Lolo taking damage. Flashes out. He has his ulti. Gets a little bit of extra healing.
Proxen has flash. Lorlo's got to be very careful here. Sitting around. They have not seen Dardoch, though, Team Envy, so they would have to be fairly cautious about going for that. Dardoch is bottom. Ash Arrow just exploded on him. Not Ash Arrow. Ash Bird.
Ash Bird does spot Dardoch on the blue. It's actually going to take it away, interestingly. So Phoenix not going to have it right now, but probably not too miffed. Does have a tier charging things up. That
Bird, though, did signal that the top lane is still clear, and there were no reinforcements on the way for Lorlo, so pretty quick transition by Team Envy after seeing Dardoch grab up the Rift Herald for the Shen and try and get him to the point where he really can bully Lorlo in the 1 versus 1.
Yep, early stages look good, but Infernal Drake will be the counter here for Team Liquid. Should be able to take this one away without too much trouble, but Proxen has his ulti. Maybe they can test.
Definitely looking to make a case for themselves, Braum.
Oh, Shenek in. This is all the globals now coming out. Proxen made it way down as well, but Fabi charges up the ulti. Lolo's in! Straight in fact, but he's taking damage. Hako almost gets sniped, but Seraph is going to keep him out. Phoenix so flashes forward, takes that one stun slot as well, and they blow him to pieces with the Graves ulti. Seraph can't move under the miasma, and that's 3 kills now for Team Liquid. Can they get more? They're going to look.
Mid lane roam was everything for Team Liquid. Phoenix making it down first, had the inside track, plus Scuttle Crab speed, gets in there for a huge cleanup, and that is definitely going to be the Drake. Well, say that.
Ninja wants to do something about this, but gonna get exhausted. Cleanse up from Phoenix, but knock up from Proxen. Gravity field down. Seraph back in as well. Victor also gonna do massive damage, and Ninja takes out Matt to kick it all off. Dardoch awfully low as Ninja flashes forward, but Proxen takes him out. And now the Drake belongs to Envy.
Didn't say for who. Definitely gonna be the Drake for Team Envy as it resets.
Disaster.
They'll still get it. This one's a tougher.
That was the hardest Drake to get in League of Legends.
Don't want to die, Pastry.
Well, that one finally goes down, but it is Envy that claim it. Team Liquid get counter-pushed effectively twice around the objective, and the second one sticks.
And it looked like Team Liquid had blown it wide open with the Phoenix Roam. However, just like last game, blow for blow here, Envy strike back. This is the very beginning where Hakuo got binded up. Shen ultimate does come in. Matt got really low. And Lorlo's on the front line. At this point, you're like, oh my god, Team Liquid, you have to retreat. But Phoenix comes in, flash play, picks up 2 off of it, and they feel like they have complete control. There's the third one. Fabi's able to cash in as well. And you're like, oh my goodness, they've got complete control. They take so long, though, setting up and killing these wards. Death timers this early in the game are very short. Rek'Sai's still around, and you know the end of that story. Good dodge. Oh, a couple of good dodges here.
Phoenix. Fancy move. That was like fancy feet. Not really. Can't buy boots. Phoenix are going to clear this out.
Abdomen?
Yeah.
No. What's the body of snake called?
that is a question for somebody else.
Tail? Is the whole thing a tail?
Maybe. Probably not. Oh,
Dardoch!
Just casually takes the blue buff. Gonna get the Scuttle Crab out of the deal as well.
Ninja gonna build a tier next.
Yep. Here's one internally built with Seraph and Lolo doing battle again. Spirit's Refuge up for Seraphs. So Lolo does dodge his way out with the Blade Surge. But things looking okay for now. As we'll settle down just a bit. Again, gold nice and even between the two. Envy did win the last exchange and get Infernal Drake as their prize. But things still looking awfully close here. Everyone just creeping up towards those first item buys.
Yeah. Envy did take home the precious Infernal Drake, though, after all the chaotic fighting. Everybody taking a breather now. That's a little much.
Yep, chill out and foam.
Waiting for Shen. Shen Ultimate actually is available here. Seraph is ready to roll. And the Glimpse of the Void buff has been allowing him to push up in the 1v1. Orlo does not want to go for the surprise brush attack quite yet. He's waiting for reinforcements. Dardoch's on the way, by the way, so he's looking to make a move, but he was definitely seen there, and there's a lot more of Team Envy around.
Yeah, 4 people top for Envy is going to be a problem. Proxim's
pretty
hit
dead
first.
now.
Lolo does have flash, but Blade Sword is out. Pretty fancy, but maybe not fancy enough. It's going to keep chasing him down. Proxim actually knows Dardoch, and Dardoch's going to take him out. Gets him in the ulti. Lolo is going to die. But Dardoch,
yeah, look at that. That was an Envy ping that just went down on his body. Teammates BMing Proxin. What happened over there? You got soloed out by the Graves? Yes, indeed he did. And Lorlo, with the fancy footwork, he mesmerized the entire team in pastry time. Bought enough time. Boom. They answer back kills, actually.
The trade's nice, but can they save the turret? Looks like Dardoch actually can. As the rest of TL are here. Envy. I love the thought behind the play, but that execution was left a little wanting.
Yeah, definitely. That's a time where you get a little greedy sometimes. You have someone you know is caught out. You try and spread out everyone that's chasing him. You have the numbers advantage, but because you spread out, the stragglers start getting picked off. The enemy team is also collapsing. People always have to remember to try and account for the enemy members that are not showing on the map currently. And you have to always assume that they're en route to any combat. Especially true for solo play if you queue ranked. Not to chase too far, trying to account for enemy members not currently visible, because people are just naturally attracted to the fighting. Anytime there is combat of any sort, you have to assume they start moving from wherever they are. Dardoch arrives.
Thank you for accurately describing my rank play experience.
Yeah. And you're like, ah, dang, where's my team? Yeah. Team, please.
As Dardoch just sweeping out wards from this left side of the jungle. Matt's in, hops forward. Alcohol nails him with a biting. No log going to turn around. Arrow committed. Matt, now the shield's down. Heal flash. Going to get him out to safety, but nice presence of mind there from Lod to almost get a kill.
Yeah, also one of the most enjoyable animations. The culling or the Ash Q activation on Braum Wall. Meanwhile, Seraph dueling with the Gromp. Gonna take this round. Gromp will get him next time, I'm quite sure of it.
Always bet on Gromp. Lolo and Seraph trading again. Seraph again with that Glimpse of the Void. And with Lolo kind of between items right now, looking for that Trinity Force versus the finished Sunfire Cape. Struggling a little bit in the 1v1, but keeping up in CS, which is probably all that matters at this stage. Phoenix, on the other hand, 1-0-2 with a tier and a Rylai's completed. That's a pretty strong snake. Yes, and Cassiopeia still just puts out the damage. Almost pretty much on the same level, actually, as Ryze. One of those machine gun mages. She also has a lot of sustain, especially now. All you have to do is poison your target first. And the Twin Fang spam can heal you through quite a substantial amount. People really underestimate it. That's why she can turn around 2 versus 1 ganks so often. But not quite yet. Nobody really looking to fight Phoenix at the moment, as he has plenty of wards around him, as well as those early kills from that roam. Well, we're probably getting to our next point of contention, because Ocean Drake's going to spawn in about 5 seconds. Envy are working on that top outer turret. Looks like they'll be able to get it, but there's the Drake up.
There's a lot of power in Team Liquid on the bottom lane, too. This is a Jhin early Ghost Blade completed. That's a lot more power, especially since Envy don't even have their dual lane down there. that could be an easy transition over to the Cloud Drake. But you would definitely be giving up your turret, though, and you can't really give up secondary turrets this early in the game. The gold advantage is definitely tough to deal with. So they send Dardoch up top to try and answer it. And I think they make the right call here, just trying to save the turret. Not trying to go for that early Ocean.
Turret trade does actually happen as well, because Fabi, with the help from Matt, was able to take the bottom outer out. Seraph not enough to defend 1v2. And Envy now can have a bit of a window to transfer to that bottom side. But again, lots of push and pull after the map's been opened up early. Although Phoenix, hello, finds Hakuho. That's an easy kill. Matt gets it, and now Ninja tagged as well. That's going to force the flash out. Seraph's ulted in, but Team Liquid.
Yeah, they've got him on the run here. They can take mid pressure. They can also choose with between Ocean Drake. There's no minions right now, so they'll probably take Ocean Drake, then come back to mid. It looks like they're splitting. They're going to do both at once. Damage in mid lane, jungler down to the Drake, and that was a very curious setup. I don't think it was even really on screen, but Hakuho just walks right into Phoenix and gets annihilated.
Dardoch with the easy solo of the Drake does give that over to Team Liquid. Mid tower up for now as Victor's back ready to wave clear, but Phoenix again, his moments have just made pretty much it was almost like a 1v4 solo play to get that first kill. Converts for an easy Drake there into Team Liquid's hands. And this Cassio is not getting any weaker as the game goes on.
Oh no. Definitely not. Yeah, and then, after the initiation there from Cassiopeia, you get the one kill on the person you stunned, but the residual slow is enough for Fabi to play his sniper role, as he's been so happy to do. Just opens right up with the Jhin ultimate, and they're able to chase him down.
Kind of interesting to see Ghostblade. He's been going a lot of Essence Reaver, but feeling maybe a bit more frisky after the game 1 win. Seraph and Dardoch doing battle, but Dardoch's actually up in levels on the top laner of Envy. That is impressive for a jungler. He's been farming up a Storm. He's more than 20 CS clear of Proxen right now. Yeah. Just happily farming away on the Graves.
Yep, he's also been involved in a lot of kills. 4 of the 6 Team Liquid kills, so that adding some extra experience. I mean, so has Seraph, but Graves is one of those jungle champions that can clear endlessly. You can actually clear from the start of the game with just the machete, as long as you want.
Well, I've had, of course, purchased some items since then, which I suppose is the recommended route.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more than the machete.
But yeah, no, it's just a champion that clears so effectively, despite some of the changes. Ninja snared up, Matt arrow. Finding lands in after that, but Phoenix is ready. Does he make for the play? Not yet. Fabi gonna line it up with the ulti. Lolo straight into the backlines, and Proxen's forced to flash out. Envy grouping back up, and Hakuho is awfully low. Lolo snipes him with a blade, and now Seraph locked up in the front as well. Might not be enough. Miasma finally dissipates, but Phoenix flashes in. Lord just melts. And Team Liquid charging forward again for 2.
Another couple of kills picked up here. Team Liquid are off to the races. This time around, they'll be able to get the mid lane turret in addition.
Not today,
to the
Victor.
map control.
And it feels like they're getting dropped. No, Envy still want to defend, but an overcommit perhaps. Fabi needs a few more bullets, ran out.
Or are we trolling? Yes, we are.
Dardoch.
Hex Drinker.
Barely.
Lifesaver. Lifeline indeed.
Well, tower still stands once again. Envy aggressively defend that turret.
Use the teleport for it, but that is a Shen. So we'll still have Stand United to rely upon.
That Cannon minion could see it. Doesn't get it though, so we'll watch this fight again.
All right, so they're initiating on the support tank. Matt crucially got up the Unbreakable before the stun landed as well. And that allowed for the reinitiation here. Let's see if Phoenix, I think he only stunned Seraph. Yeah, but they're able to lock him in place. And Hakuho again on this Morgana doesn't have much of an effect on the fight at all. It keeps getting 100%ed at the very beginning of the fight, and Envy have to retreat.
Yeah, it's just starting to struggle a bit here for Envy's Team Liquid actually out to a nice lead. We talked about how close game 1 was this time around. Team Liquid and their aggression pushed them out to a 2,000 gold lead as we just crest the 20-minute mark. Morello Nomicon finished for Phoenix as well, so he's nice and strong at this stage of the game. Gonna charge that tier up and probably look for his Archangels / Seraphs next, but it's just full control right now for Team Liquid, and Envy, despite the fact that they are getting to these spots and trying to react, it's not nearly as effective as it was in the first game.
Yeah. Definitely a much bigger gold lead already for Team Liquid than the first game. Starting to break away. Team Envy do have the Infernal Drake in their pocket, so that will start to help out a little bit later.
Lord and Hakuho also working on this turret, but Lola going to clear it out as best he can. Might commit for it. Minion's still there for a little while longer. Should be able to give it over. Proxen tanks the last few bullets on the end. And that is going to be a tower over to Envy. So up in structures for now, but not going to last too long as Dardoch and Ninja going to go in. Dardoch almost gets it himself. Ninja barely gets away there.
Yeah, full combo there from Dardoch. Definitely means they can do the 129 damage to mid turret that they've been waiting for.
Who's going to get it? It is Phoenix that collects. Oh, Minion actually gets credit for it, but Tio going to keep pushing here in mid.
Yeah, short-lived turret advantage there for Team Envy. Was a good move for them to snag that top side though. Fabi!
Good arrow onto Fabi. Damage is there. Proxen trying to follow in. Gets a knock up. There's Ninja getting him with the ulti. But Dardoch's in the backline trying to solo out the Victor. Lolo dives on his face and gets it. Proxen goes down as well to Phoenix. And Phoenix now trying to kite it out. Not enough there on the healing. And the fight's still going. Lolo though demolishing people as the trades are coming back and forth. Lord's already dead. Seraph going to get tagged up here as well. Team Liquid looking for the ace, and they are going to get it.
Ooh, again, the Lorlo-Dardoch combo dives the back line, turn back around for the stragglers, and take out the entire team of Envy. That's going to be inhibitor turret. 22-minute inhibitor down mid lane here for Team Liquid, and they are looking to catch Team Envy in the standings.
Yeah, and that adjustment that Team Liquid made between games 1 and 2, such a big lead now. So this was a great start from Lord.
Yeah, another initiation here. Threads the needle and snags Fabi. He might have even been going for Phoenix, but what a great start for them. Seraph comes in on the back of Proxen. Proxen also had the black shield on him, but still gets destroyed by Phoenix. And taking 1 for 1 there as Phoenix is all they needed, since Dardoch and Lorlo took out the Victor very quickly and then can turn on Ashe as she's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, just all set up by Team Liquid's earlier pressure. Dardoch almost comboing down Ninja. They just kept pressing forward, managed to break mid. And all of a sudden, after a series that started very close, and this game was relatively close to start as well, we're almost partway through the mid game, and Team Liquid off to a huge lead. Envy on the back foot for a little while now.
Yeah, huge resurgence this weekend for Team Liquid. Last night came up with a huge, comeback sort of series, I guess.
Yeah,
after the
absolutely.
After the remake, and then a very strong statement here against Team Envy. Even though the first game was so close, they do not look like they're going to let this go to game 3.
And after this weekend, the message might be, if you're going to beat Team Liquid, you really have to batter and bruise them, because this team, even tiny hints of adversity, even though they won game 1 and it was close, every time they just come back stronger. That is not a good thing in best of 3. It feels like Team Liquid are really adapting and gelling as a team now that we're halfway through the split.
Team Liquid confirmed Super Saiyans.
Maybe. Whatever training they've been doing certainly been paying off. And this game is in their hands at this stage. Lolo, I think now more than up enough against Seraph to try and create some real threat in these side lanes. And Dardoch is a monster at this stage. He's going to go in. Procs on the target. Stuns there. Bullet. No, yep. Does land in, but the stand out of might protect him. Dardoch, though, standing his ground. Seraph is taking damage in the front line. Phoenix, tries to get the ulti down to clean things up. But Team Liquid, no kills this time.
Dardoch is just dishing out massive damage on this Graves. Gonna have to check on that damage up to champions, actually, after this game, because it's coming from all directions here from Team Liquid. Lorlo's bullying out the bottom lane. Seraph had to back. He does have teleport, but no stand united for this Baron.
Well, Team Liquid should be able to form in this pretty comfortably. Lolo still bottom side creating pressure, but Team Liquid...
no tank.
Yeah, a little too dangerous.
They don't have anyone to soak the damage. Also, little mentioned is that the person that Baron's directly attacking has greatly reduced damage against Baron. And if all your members in there are DPS, not only do you not have a tank, soaking the hits, but definitely reducing DPS on the Baron by whoever is getting whacked. And if it switches targets, that persists for an extra couple seconds afterwards. So definitely always nice to have a solo tank if you are going to try and sneak a Baron like that or burn it down if you don't have huge numbers advantage.
As it stands, Team Liquid have kind of a couple bruises, I guess, between Aurelia and Graves. And to me, that indicates fighting. And they've been doing an awful lot of that this game. Success definitely there for Team Liquid as far as all those fights go. And Envy, again, they're going to have to kind of chill out for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, we've seen that this Morgana sort of counter to the long-range engage pick attempts has not been successful. Seraph now not very successful in the 1 versus 1 anymore.
Good snare from Jin, and that's able to lock it down for Lolo. Fabi with the Duskblade build as well, so he's kind of gone back to the old Jin builds. And again, it just seems to be the message. Team Liquid, they either lose game 1 or have a close one, and then just fire straight back. Guns blazing in game 2.
He is not messing around.
Nope.
He's got all the flat armor penetration. See if he also gets the Ma for all 3 flat penetration items.
Well, Team Liquid at this point is going to bait around Baron. Bird's going to spot them, but oh, Phoenix gets a binding. That looks like, sorry, meant to block that one. Phoenix not too worried though. Does have the Seraphs transformed completely as well, so Adam Cassio's real strong.
I mean, Dardoch can kind of tank it with the extra lifesteal that he has, but it's still risky to go for this Baron without killing anyone first. They're just trying to buy time for Lorlo. They don't actually want to start the Baron for this Baron bait. They just want to be in the area so that nobody can test Lorlo.
Oh, now they're going to start it, actually. I think they've got Envy backed away.
Matt's going to be the one to tank it. He's going to get low pretty quick.
Yep, Proximo may be caught looking around the back, but TL going to try and get back in there. Ninja snared up in the front line, but Dardoch ulti's out. Ninja eats so much damage, but a huge gravity field might save it. Matt does get the kill down, but Envy are firing back in. Seraph gets one now, chasing in onto Phoenix. Going to try and take him out, but the Seraph's not enough. Team Liquid just too far ahead. 3 for 1 there on that fight.
Yeah, all right. They are going to get away, but that's going to be Team Liquid rushing into the base. Inhibitor's going to go down. Lorlo is 5-1-4 on Aurelia. Off to the races.
Well and truly, they almost at the finish line.
That's the second time I said that. Stuck in your head.
Unlucky.
Lorlo really likes racing. Marathon runner Aurelia. That's going to be the next skin.
Just in a little car, speeding down a lane. I think it should happen when she gets the home guard proc and teleports in.
Yeah.
Just zooms in a little cart. We can make it work. Team Liquid is going to clean out Envy's blue side jungle, excuse me. Phoenix going to have bonus blue buff. He'll happily take that one away. And now super minion pressure in that mid lane. And not a whole lot of turrets left to defend for Envy. Team Liquid should be able to make some plays around either the Drake spawning in a minute 20 or that Baron that's up still.
And that middle inhibitor being down, 20 so minutes into the game. All right, anyways, here they force the issue here. If you start Baron with that much damage, it kind of forces Envy in. Proxen gets separated, so then chaos kind of breaks out here. Great gravity field soaks up 2 members, but he got blown up so quickly. There was no opportunity for follow-up. Laud is out of there. The arrow went wide, so that wasn't able to lock anyone down. And after those couple of things go wrong, there's nothing to clean it up here for Envy, and they're back on the defensive.
Yep, Team Liquid again going to send Lolo back down to the bottom half, clear that big minion wave out, and set themselves up for that Infernal Drake when it spawns around. Midpoint pressure. Yep, midpoint pressure means that, oh my god. I was like, what does that sound? Oh, it's Lolo.
Mesmerized again.
Smashing through minion waves.
The double offensive item Aurelia only has a cowl.
Rarely seen.
Item.
But effective in this game for sure. Team Liquid actually maybe grouping a little stronger, making sure Lolo has some support in the back lines, but no need to rush this stage of the game. Team Liquid just trying to keep growing that lead they have.
Yeah, and he is set up to murder Seraph if he ever tries to take the 1 versus 1. This Drake might draw Envy out. It is an Infernal Drake, but they just can't take a team fight right now, so still on the defensive. They're actually moving up towards Baron. I feel like Team Liquid can finish the Drake quick enough that starting up Baron or anything for Envy would mean that they get caught inside Baron pit. So I think they're just trying to set up for a steal of their own. They're hoping that Team Liquid will start up the Baron with Vision inside, and then Envy's comeback play into the game will be a Baron steal. Doesn't look like it'll happen though. Ninja gets nailed.
Oh, Lolo wants it. Standing United used to try and save him, but Lolo's still there with the damage. Might just get it in the midst of it all, and Dardoch actually cleans up the back end. Now Seraph gonna get stunned up and likely killed as Lolo blade surges his face off. Dardoch stunned under the turret, eats a binding, but he's still gonna live with the shield. And Team Liquid are going crazy. 3 kills already, forcing Envy out of the base. Phoenix ultis, because why not? Lolo cleans up another one. Now godlike, as that's 4 for nothing.
Run for your life, Proxen! You're all alone! Last of your kind!
Kill him as well. Proxen gonna get stunned up. There's some flashes forward. Team Liquid gonna scoop up the ace and take the series.
Roxon running away down mid lane, but Team Liquid are going the other way. 30 minutes this time around. Much more convincing win. And they're going to 2-0 Team Envy, catch them in the standings, and make their way up towards the top team.
And that will complete a perfect weekend for Team Liquid, who keep growing from strength to strength. Game 1 was a great affair between the two teams, but Team Liquid eked it out. That game, Team Liquid just looked mad, smashes Envy in under 31 minutes.
When are people going to break up this Jhin Braum lane for Team Liquid? I've seen it get first blood almost every time. That's definitely just my imagination, but it's a very high percentage still. And Phoenix on the Cassiopeia doing a lot of work. That early roam is actually what turned this game and got them to this point. Even though Envy were able to counter right after that, the early gold there on the Cassiopeia allowed Phoenix to be such a massive threat from the mid lane.
You can see the Liquid huddle, going to celebrate yet another victory, and again a great weekend.
Plus, yeah, a really great weekend. You know, other people are stepping up on this team. It's not just the Dardoch show. Fabi has a very, very clear role as the sniper in the back lane. His Jhin has been great. They've been picking people off. Lorlo had 2 extremely good split pushing games this series. Last game on the Trundle, able to keep them in it when it was touch and go there for a while. And this one on Aurelia, 7-1-6.
Took over the game, really.
Crushing.
And that's the thing. The great thing for me watching this series was just seeing 2 different styles. You know, Team Liquid, I think they've found the blueprint now for what works as far as picks and execution goes. And Envy have always been strong counterpunchers, and they showed that this game, constantly making strong reactive plays. But at the end of the day, it was Team Liquid's aggression that won out over the more reactive style there for Envy. And I don't know if it's something that Envy need to change, but Team Liquid definitely don't need to change very much, because every game they've won, they've looked dominant.
Yeah, I mean, Envy, they've been, or Team Liquid, I mean, they've been moving parts around in the team, you know, taking a couple members from the Academy team. They talked about starting off as a 10-man squad, but they're really starting to come into their own right now with this current setup. Feels
like they've found the 5 players that do work well together, and you can't argue with the results that Liquid have gotten recently. Again, I think for me, maybe the next question is this sustainable? When the meta changes, do you have a bit of flexibility? But as I said, from what they've shown so far, you know, Phoenix carries, split pushing top laners, utility AD, Dardoch on whatever he wants. That's clearly working for them. It's great to see after early struggles that Liquid are able to come out so strong.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. And for Team Envy, they had a good, set last night. They were able to take one of the victories. Tough go here, though, especially that first game. Envy had a lot of good counter moves. So there is definitely some bright points for them.
And I think after, kind of the first 2 halves, Liquid may be set up for a spectacular second half run once again. And Envy will have to see, because they had a good start to the first half of the season. Back end looking a little shaky at least to start things. But after a strong tour showing, let's go stage side to chat, who has Liquid star jungler ready for an interview to wrap up that series.
Thank you very much, guys. And speaking of wrapping up, you guys on this stage yesterday played for more time than both sets today. But obviously a much more decisive victory, especially in the last game. Tell me how you feel after this basically undefeated weekend.
I felt really happy about the Cloud9 games because, yeah, our mental fortitude was tested a lot because of like the length of the games and the remake and stuff. But I'm really disappointed in myself, particularly this set. But really proud of my teammates for picking up like my slack.
I did notice in the first game, after you guys won on the Gragas game, you actually left the stage fairly quickly. Do you want to talk about like how you're able to bounce back in game 2 because you had a pretty dominating Graves performance after maybe more of a disappointing Gragas?
I don't really know what was up today, but like the first game was probably like one of my, if not the worst performance of like my career playing this game professionally, and I was like really, really disappointed in myself. But I had to, I'm like the team captain leader, so I have to pull it back, and yeah, I performed on Graves.
It's interesting you say that because many people would love if their worst performance was stealing an Elder Drake in a pivotal moment in the game and still making some large picks at the end of it. Maybe going back to that game 1 a little bit more, how did you, as the leader of the team, kind of keep the team on the same page? Because it was kind of a miraculous win. You kept getting a lot of picks. You had the Elder Drake steal. Talk to me about how you kept your mentality up and the mentality of the team up during that game 1.
Well, the only reason that game was close is because I kind of faltered in the shot calling that I normally do, where I didn't call for our 1-3-1 sooner when our Trundle was pretty unbeatable. And then later in the game, we realized we can't walk into Victor Rumble comp and we can't like 5v5 them. So we called for 1-3-1, and then at the end of the game, after I think our Trundle 1-for-1'd or something, and then we sat in the top bush like above Wraiths. I called for that, and then yeah, it was just I even though I was extremely like on tilt and upset at myself and disappointed in my own play, I still have to like try and make us win.
Yeah, and you were able to do that. Also, to talk about Lorlo a little bit, oftentimes he gets under the radar, especially with Piglet coming out of lineup and Fabi coming in. They're saying it's like this Dardoch Phoenix show. But Lorlo this series was spectacular. Do you want to talk about his play a little bit and his progression as a player?
Honestly, I think, yeah, people don't really respect Lorlo a lot, but yeah, he's like demanding respect now. He's improved a lot as a player, and now that we are understanding more 1-3-1 concepts, that he's getting a lot more time to shine instead of just being put on like tanks all day. So I think, yeah, he's definitely going to be one of the best top laners in NA.
Awesome. And final question for you. Had a great week this week, but you go against one of your biggest rivals, I feel like, in Immortals last week, knocking you in the third place game and also beating you already this year. How are you going to prepare for that matchup, and how do you think it's going to go?
Honestly, we've improved so much from when we played Immortals. So I mean, we always come into those games confident. We always get slapped down, but hopefully it changes this time. Yeah,
well, confidence once again. Good luck, Dardoch. Congratulations on the week now. And let's send it over to the desk to close out the week. Day. Tomorrow we still have games.
Thank you very much, Chad. That little caveat at the end. I love it. A confident Dardoch, but again, this is the time when it's deserved, right? They're on their track back to being a top-tier team. They're now tied for fourth with their win over Envy today and their victory over Cloud9 yesterday, beating these two teams that were above them in the standings. So fantastic showing from them this week in particular. But all in all, upward trends for this team.
And I think it's a lot to do with kind of how the meta is progressing and their willingness to adapt to it. You heard that Lorlo is improving a ton, but it's also kind of more towards his style. He was never really a tank player.
Right.
People always knew him from his solo queue, Fioras and Rivens, and to have him on things, the more competitive versions of those with Aurelia or something, or Trundle. But to be able to have the ability to take over a game if he's having a good game, as opposed to just CC bot, you get to see that that's more his play style.
Right, and as we see the champion select on our screen right now, we have that Aurelia picked into the Shen, which we had some reservations about, but there wasn't much of a better option, especially with the Trundle being banned away. More importantly, though, the picks that I want to look at are the Morgana pickup by Envy, the big thing that I don't agree with there, just because the likes of Karma still on the board.
Right, and I think it suits their team comp much better. I think the problem that Envy might have ran into there was they tunneled on the Braum pick on the side of Team Liquid, and they went with what's kind of considered a traditional kind of counter in Morgana, but when you have two immobile carries, you want the speed up from Karma to get them in and out. You already have enough engage with the Shen, Rek'Sai, Ashe that you don't really need the follow-up binding or anything like that,
Right.
And I think it was just tunneling a little too hard on the Braum and not enough on what would be best for their team.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, some champion select stuff that we've been back and forth with Envy, and sometimes they look great in champ select, sometimes they don't. So maybe they still got some stuff to figure out there when it comes to meta. Team Liquid, though, happy to play seemingly everything, right? We've now seen, for example, Dardoch on the likes of Olaf, Rek'Sai, Gragas, to the Graves, to the Nidalees. So very diverse champion pools for these guys. We've seen Lorlo still play the tanks and the Shens and whatnot, but also play these more carry-oriented champions. So just as the split is developing, I feel more and more that this roster, this squad, is giving allowances to Loco Doco in that champ select to really craft interesting team comps.
Right, I think a lot of it comes down to mid lane too. Phoenix is basically playing all the top tiers as well as the A tiers and some more fringy picks like the LeBlanc. So there's nothing that is really foreign to this team in terms of what they want to play. Even Fabi, if you stick him on Lucian, that was his most played champion. He was basically the carry at TLA for a lot of games. And so if it does return to that style, you think that they're fine if he needs to play that for a game or two. So they seem very comfortable in a lot of different facets.
All right, I want to jump into some gameplay. 8:30 into the game, Infernal Drake skirmish. That all-important Infernal Drake that everybody wants. So early fights around this objective for these teams in a very extended encounter here.
Yeah, it's really sad for Hakuho there to have his shield broken by the Jhin trap just as the root comes over the place. So he gets CC'd up, and then Phoenix has a great flash engage here to get Laud, picks up Hakuho on the side, and Team Liquid is able to win this pretty convincingly, 3-0. But what ends up happening is they want to finish this Infernal. They know how strong it is. and despite not being the healthiest and death timers being really short, they try and force it again. And so Envy is able to come back in for a re-engage here, and they're going to pick up a couple kills.
Yeah, well, we'll just watch this play out as the TP comes in from Lorlo, or no, rather from Seraph on that Shen. Nice little taunt there. Going to pick up some kills with the AoE damage from the Victor. And I think that may have caught some people by surprise.
Yeah, it's the kind of classic TL over-aggression. I think that's what kind of holds them back from really breaking into like the top 2. That's the kind of thing that you don't... Immortals oversteps a little bit, but usually not this drastically. This could be a very big turning point in the game where you give up all the kills you just got and an Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
It's very concerning, but they were able to play the rest of the game out pretty well.
It's kind of, that's the thing about Team Liquid's play styles. They're very ham. They're going to keep going. The way that, even when they're losing, right, it's exciting to watch because even when Team Liquid's losing, they say, no, if we're going to lose hard because we're going to be making plays to try and get back in. Now, they might not work, but if they do, great. And they're not going to just slow bleed. And this is just another example. They're not necessarily behind. In fact, they're ahead at this point, but they're going to try and press their advantages so far that sometimes it can come back to bite them.
I think the concern is what you heard from Dardoch is not even just when he's tilted, but just sometimes they don't know the right play. And we kind of saw in game 1, they needed to swap out of that when they didn't have TP advantage and just accept that they need to go for turret trades at that point. We saw Immortals do that on the other series when they had a disadvantage. They were like, all right, screw it, let's go for turrets. Team Liquid doesn't make that adaptation, and so when they play super aggressive like Immortals, but they're not quite up to the game knowledge level, and that's the concern.
Right, but the recognition seems to be there, so we'll see if over the coming weeks they can get to the point where they're making those realizations in-game, not post-game. Right? That's the most important part. Another quick replay, 22 minutes into the game, we're going back towards the Dragon. Liquid's going to pick up an ace here, or rather, starting in the mid lane. But Liquid's going to pick up an ace here off of an Envy engage.
Right, so this is the time where Envy's trying to make aggressive. They start that CC chain up onto Fabi, and even though he pops right away, Dardoch is just soloing the mid laner on his own. Phoenix is melting the back line, and Lorlo comes in as well, and now you kind of see Envy surrounded on all sides. Phoenix is going to kite this out, but the Bash Bros of Lorlo and Dardoch are here, and they're able to basically clean up the rest of the fight, and ends up being an ace. And this is kind of why Team Liquid is so good, is they do fight extremely well. It's just which one should they go for. So, like you would think, oh, 80 carry insta-gibbed off a chain CC, great. And then Dardoch's like, nope, we're going to carry this fight still. So
yeah, I mean, it's smart target selection, right? They can't necessarily help out Fabi, but that's okay. They're, the opposing mid laner is vulnerable. Let's make sure we dive onto him, at least make the trade 1 carry for 1 carry, and then we'll win out the fight because we have more consistent DPS from that point onward with the Graves as a jungler. Player of the game going to go to Dardoch. I run out of things to say about this guy because I feel like we give him.
Good.
I feel like we give him player of the game quite often because he is. He's so good. I mean, and we heard it in the interview. Like, not only is he a good player mechanically, individually is he a good player, but he's kind of morphing into this leader very well, right? And as a young guy who has a lot of confidence, he's still finding those moments where he needs to be the calming voice or the focusing voice for the team.
Right, he's got a great future ahead of him considering this is, his rookie season. It's his second split, but people will just improve. Hopefully, he gets more even-keeled in a sense because he can still, as he even said in game 1, was tilted off his own bad play. What the great players really do is they don't let that get to them.
Right.
Keep taking the shots, as you often hear, don't worry about the misses.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that he can get hung up on right now, but when he's firing and hitting, he gets pretty hot like that last game. He kind of took over and soloed some people out.
Exactly. So that's this series in particular for Team Liquid, having taken down Envy, who was right above them in the standings. Same thing beating Cloud9 yesterday. I want to now look at Team Liquid in this, the grander scheme of the league itself, right? Because Freak and I had a conversation yesterday about, well, is Team Liquid, can we comfortably call them our third place team right now? What is your thought there? And it's okay, the answer is no. I'm just proposing the question because, given the way that the earlier weeks of the split had played out, it seemed as though most of the teams were relatively where they deserved to be. And then here's Team Liquid with this roster coming in and just kind of negating all that, smashing all those ideals.
Right, I thought C9 would have stayed over them, and after that loss, you have to wonder if C9 really is the third solid team. But I think one thing that's so interesting is just the matchups. It's not so binary as to be this guy will beat this guy, this guy will beat that.
Yeah.
Right, I think TL has certain style things that they do that can be hard for some teams. They're very aggressive. And when you meet that kind of aggression, you have like one or two options, which is like slow down, try and absorb it, and then like go from there. And the other ones match it and just go over the top.
Right.
And I think you'll see TSM and IMT are teams that will go over the top with them and be better at it.
Yes.
Whereas a team like C9 kind of falls somewhere in the middle, and they might lose to a Team Liquid. And so as the playoffs near, I think it's not as simple as, well, C9 is the 3rd seed, they should beat Team Liquid. It's like, well, they might have a better chance versus TSM and Immortals, but not against Team Liquid maybe. And it's maybe that kind of matchup thing you need to worry about.
Well, that just makes positioning for playoffs even more interesting, as you don't want to get seeded into a stylistic mismatch that's going to put you at a disadvantage. So
Right.
When it comes to that kind of stuff, I'll be very curious to see how teams are jockeying for position at the later half of the split. Now, though, it's time to check in on some of your call-outs for LCS big plays. First up, at RM Kaufman 13 was watching TSM take down the win earlier today when he tweeted that Bjergsen gold card. Let's see the Bjerg King's golden moment.
Now Pyrian gonna look. He's waiting for the gold card to expire.
Oh!
What? How did he see him? They saw him dash. They saw the beginning of the dash into the brush.
Wow.
So he's like, you know what? He's still in here. Wait, go.
I absolutely love that. You get and in the replay, seeing the little point from the distortion, back where it remains, where he could hop back to. Just great awareness on the mini map to know that this is a play we can make.
Yeah, it's just the benefit of having such an aware team. Like you look at that play and you're like, what? How did that even happen? You really have to go back and rewatch it. And sometimes that actually happens a lot with TSM games, where I'm like, how exactly did they reach that decision?
Right.
They seem to just be more aware of what's happening on the map, and Bjergsen himself is one of the best players for that.
It's amazing what checking your mini-map will do for you, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, Aegis Please, who is watching NALCS 1, says, fantastic 4-man ult by Aframu. Oh my, that was beautiful. Let's take a look.
One kill picked up already by Xmithy. Now Huhi in the front line as well. A nice knocker goes out of the Bard. Oh! 4-man temper fate and temper your expectations energy, because you're all going down. Another 3 kills come through. Only OQ is alive.
Chrono's no push. Chrono.
Get the heal.
I'm gonna go in. Come on.
Trundle.
Come and push. We can do better. Oh, Ben's there. That guy's no push. He's no push.
So that was a 4-man ult. He had a couple 3-man ults in that game. Just absolutely stellar play on Bard. We've come to expect that from Aframu. Next up, and finally, at Le Foxat, called out another big objective swipe, saying Dardoch stealing the Elder Dragon in Team Liquid versus Envy won them the game for sure. I don't think anyone can argue with that. Let's look at this smooth move.
Jin is such a sitting duck. Did Dardoch steal it? Okay, barrels in. Oh, he got it!
He does die, but it's worth it. Lola's still doing damage in the top lane.
My God!
Keep going top. We're good. Strangle for still, I guess. I got it.
Nice.
We can back up.
We can. No problem.
Give me that shit. Actually, we can get recalls.
I mean,
Where's the excitement? It's like,
right.
I got it. We can
Really,
back off.
it's because Kobe and Pastry took all of the
they
energy.
sucked all the energy themselves.
But I mean, I think that was such a crucial moment, only because when you look at the amount of damage that was on Envy's team comp there, especially in the 5v5 with the Rumble and the Victor, we heard Dardoch mention it in the interview himself. We realized we couldn't fight this team straight up anymore. But to take that Elder Dragon away, right, nerf their damage or disallow them from having it, and then in the process increasing your damage, was so key for them to be able to close out that game.
Really helps Trundle get through turrets too. So with that being your last victory condition, basically, to have him that little leg up and dueling people as well as taking the objective is super important.
Absolutely. Well, some big plays today. Remember, you can use Twitter during the broadcast to tell the world about your favorite highlights from the day of LCS action using that hashtag LCS Big Plays. Now, though, for a glimpse of the league standings following the conclusion of our Saturday matches, first, second, and third place stay locked in with TSM Immortals and Cloud9. Liquid and Envy now draw even in fourth, with CLG and Apex tied in sixth ahead of those bottom teams. Now, for a preview of the matches coming your way tomorrow on NALCS 1, CLG and TSM lock horns in the Battle Arena in a match you will not want to miss. And be sure to tune into NALCS 2 for our match of the week. Tomorrow afternoon, Immortals defend their second place position from a hungry Cloud9. They definitely will be hungry after having lost to Team Liquid, and with the fact that Team Liquid is kind of surging in and making that race for the top a little bit more interesting. these wins, all of these wins against the teams that are close to you in the standings matter even more.
Right. If C9 drops that game, they're actually 4th because Team Liquid is ahead of them in the tiebreaker. So
yeah.
It's a very scary match for them that they have to kind of hold on to their 3rd spot against the team right above them in the standings, the Immortals, who have been looking very, very good. So
yeah, and I think, I mean, we hit on it at the beginning of the day, but for me, the matchup that is actually most interesting here, most of the time when we look at Immortals, we're always talking about the top lane, Huni and Reignover, and how people are going to match up against them. I think in this matchup for C9 Immortals, Jensen versus Pobelter, given the fact that Jensen has been pretty dominant as a mid laner for the past year now, and Pobelter would have been pinpointed as the weak link for Immortals in the previous split. That's not to say that he wasn't good at League of Legends, but
right.
Here, this split is definitely stepping up as a top-tier mid laner in the NALCS.
Similar kind of functions on their team being huge parts of the carry, and then similar champions as well. We see a ton of Victor from them, and some of the other, like Azir, Vlad, a little bit of that. So it'd be very interesting to see how the champ pools develop over the course of that series and where the focus goes, because we see a lot of teams trying to focus Jensen, but he always seemes to have like the moves to get out.
He is so goddamn good at dodging skill shots. It is fascinating, and one of the reasons why that makes, I guess, the matchup more interesting is the fact that recently Reignover has made visits to the mid lane. Meteos, same thing, has made visits to try and protect Jensen.
Yeah, everyone's coming for it.
Right, but everybody else is trying to get their mid laners ahead, and Reignover has made many visits to the mid lane, pre-3 minutes even during those lane swaps, and so we'll see how Cloud9 can kind of deal with that aggression towards the mid lane in this matchup. The other big one to consider that's coming out tomorrow is actually TSM versus CLG. And I know that most people would say, well, TSM's undefeated, they look dominant, and CLG, for the most part, hasn't looked good this split, so why would we expect a great matchup out of this one? Well, a couple reasons. One, it's TSM versus CLG. Those matchups are always exciting. It's just full of emotion, full of drive, all this kind of stuff. But then the other piece of it is that if you watch the 2 series that happened today between these 2 teams, you'd be excited. CLG and TSM
50-minute series, basically.
People. Yeah, both series finished under 60 minutes in terms of game time.
You want to make a bet?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I have to hear the bet first.
All right. Well, do you think this series will be faster or slower than the total game time of both their series today?
Both their series. So that's on 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think that the
hour
series
40.
I think it'll still be faster.
You think it'll be faster?
I think TSM is still going to 2-0 CLG.
Ooh, okay.
So that's why I think it'll be faster, because I think it'll only be 2 games. But I think that there will be closer games than, for example, what they had today.
Well, I want to agree, but I'll just have to take the opposite side.
Now you just have to take the opposite side. I like that. But let's talk about the matchup itself then, and why it may go 2 games or go 2-1. I'm not convinced off of just one series, especially against Energy, a team that's been struggling and has shown us a lot of disjointedness. That's where CLG thrives, because they can still dismantle a team that doesn't have top-tier communication. That's what happened today. They're not going to have that even option tomorrow against TSM.
That's kind of why I wanted to agree with you. I hope you take the over on that bet. But it's just because Energy made a lot of draft mistakes, I think, that gave Huhi some of his best champions. And not only will TSM not make those mistakes, but he'll be against Bjergsen, who will punish him really hard for any mistakes that he makes. So I think that, having that kind of mismatch in the mid lane, which is probably one of the most important positions this split, will be very detrimental for CLG's chances of taking that series.
Exactly. So as much as I do love to see CLG have a stellar performance today and show that maybe they will return to form and represent themselves and defend their title, I'm not sure that there's been enough evidence yet to convince me that they're really going to put up that big of a fight against TSM. Either way, we know that they're going to, take off the gloves and they're going to be swinging hard. Also, too, tomorrow, the beginning of the show, we're going to have an opportunity to talk to both Hotshot and Reginald. They'll be on the desk. That's always a fun time, getting to hear their insights about where their teams stand and the matchup and the rivalry between those 2 squads. Before we go, I want to mention something to you all. We're trying something new tomorrow at 11:30 Pacific before the LCS begins. Check out Facebook Live on the LUL Esports Facebook page for a live Q&A with myself and Kobe, where you guys at home can ask any question you want. We might not answer it, but we'll answer the good ones. No, I'm just kidding. Either way, for myself, Mark, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thanks for spending your Saturday with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, Saturday League fans. It's time to get into this one. Our first match is going to be fun with Energy Esports taking on Counter Logic Gaming. He in the front line as well. A nice knockout goes out of the Bard. Oh! I'm gonna go and come on.
Trundle.
Carmen flash.
We can do Baron. Oh, Baron's
I can
down.
go, I can flash. He's no flash.
CLG with an incredibly quick game. Their mid game was on point.
The teleport's coming through, working wonderfully. Second kill comes through as GVM has dropped off the face of the map. Qua's going to be another kill picked up, a 3-for-0 CLG.
I know it'll be a good game, and I'm pretty excited to go and get it over with, you know?
Too much. Would have been great to be in the 1v1. Bjergsen on the right side of the Raptor pit. Sven Karen flying through with the flash body slam.
I'm on my way.
Wait, no SCP.
FTP.
No SCP.
You're a beast. TSM staying undefeated in the North American LCS Summer Split.
Everything came together at a really good time, and our expectation is to win the split, and that's what I want to do.
Welcome to Seminars Rift. Welcome to the LA. Welcome to Summer's Rift.
Alright, I'm keeping behind. I'm keeping behind. Aaron, they're split, right? I'm bubbling him. You can't even do.
Nice. I'm moving. We can fight.
Victor, no flash. I can slow him again.
Huni is snared. Chrono Shift means that he's going to be able to soak this damage as Immortals pick up the turret and get the kill onto Ray. And Immortals take the 2-0 in 2 27-minute games.
Yeah, we're gonna have what it takes to shut down the sneaky W with Turtle W. We're gonna use that one.
Oh look, I'm on that picture. Look, dude, we made it to the board. It's us.
I'm so famous.
Did Dardock steal it?
Okay, barrels in! Oh, he got it! It does die, but it's worth it. Lawler's still doing damage in the top lane.
My God!
Not enough there on the healing. And the fight's still going. Lawler, though, demolishing people. That will complete a perfect weekend for Team Liquid, who keep growing from strength to strength.